What is up guys, my name is Ignas, welcome back to the channel. So we are on the path to finding the best dividend paying stocks from the healthcare sector, and for today's comparison I've picked 3 names from the drug manufacturing industry. So today's first pick is Pfizer, ticker symbol PFE. This year the stock went a bit lower, minus 13.19%. 1 year's performance is a bit better at just minus 1.5%, but if we take the last 5 years, it was trading at $31 back in 2017, up to $49.21 now, higher for 55.49%. Pfizer's market cap is now at $276 billion US, and the stock is trading at a dividend yield of 3.25%. So this will be the first name for our dividend comparison, but I do have 2 more sharing this industry. So second stock I've picked is AbbVie, ticker symbol ABBV. Different than Pfizer, this stock is up on the year to date for 4.16%. 1 year's performance is even better, plus 18.18%. And in the last 5 years, the stock went from $72 in 2017, up for 94.62%, to $140.96. Company's market cap is just a bit lower at $249 billion, and currently the stock is trading at a dividend yield of exactly 4%. Now the third pharma name I've picked is Merck, ticker symbol MRK. Great performance on the year to date, plus 19.16%. 1 year's performance is just a bit worse, but still way in the green, plus 16.87%. And zooming out to 5 years, the stock went from $60 in 2017 to $91.56 now, up for 52.64%. Market cap is below the previous 2 at $232 billion, and the stock is now trading at a dividend yield of 3.01%. So these are the 3 pharmaceutical companies that we will be comparing today, and to make tracking for this comparison easier, let's use Google Sheets. So I've made this table with 5 metrics that we will be taking a look into. Dividend yield, the dividend payout ratio, years of consecutive dividend increases, 5-year compound annual dividend growth rate, and the dividend yield compared to its 5-year average. We'll pick the numbers from these metrics from each stock and then compare them on each line. The best result on each metric gets a point, then we'll sum the points up, and in the end the stock with the most points will be considered the winner of this comparison. I believe the rules are as clear as it gets, so let's start. So the first metric is the dividend yield. It is calculated by taking the annual dividend per share and dividing it by the share price. Pfizer is currently paying an annual dividend of $1.60 per share, so at $49.03, that is a dividend yield of 3.27%. Switching to AbbVie, they are paying $5.64 per share, so at a price of $140.68, we have a dividend yield of 4.01%. And now Merck, their dividend is at $2.76, so since the stock is trading at $91.45, we have a dividend yield of 3.02%. Second metric is the dividend payout ratio. The percentage here shows what part of company's earnings are being paid back to investors as dividends. So in Pfizer's case, the dividend payout ratio is now at 30.39%. Meaning that around 1/3 of company's earnings are being paid back to shareholders. Now switching to AbbVie, so their payout ratio is at 47.38%. Almost half of their earnings are being used for dividends. And now for Merck, the payout ratio is at 37.10%. So more than 1/3 of earnings are being paid out as dividends. Metric number 3 is the years of consecutive dividend increases. So for how many years the company has been increasing dividends for at least 1 quarter every year. In Pfizer's case, they have been increasing dividends for the last 12 years. Now if we switch to AbbVie, the history here is way longer, as they have been increasing dividends for the last 50 years. And Merck is more similar to Pfizer, as they have been increasing dividends for the last 12 years. Metric number 4 is the compound annual dividend growth rate. For the comparison, we'll use the 5-year average, including the next year's estimate. So Pfizer now has a dividend growth rate at exactly 3%. Here is the number for AbbVie, and their 5-year growth rate is at 7.38%. Now Merck, and their 5-year compounded dividend growth rate is at 6.76%. Now the last metric we'll check is the current dividend yield compared to its 5-year average. And for that we'll use my dividend investing watchlist on Google Sheets. So here we have Pfizer's tab, and its dividend yield history for each quarter of the last 5 years. Out of this information we calculate that on average in the last 5 years, Pfizer was trading at a dividend yield of 4.24%. So the best time to get into the stock was in the beginning of 2021, where the dividend yield was at 9.47% over the 5-year average for 123.15%, and the worst one was in the beginning of 2022 at 2.91% under the average for 31.43%. But if we would be taking the stock right now at a dividend yield of 3.26%, that is still under the 5-year average for 23.18%. So this is here the number that we will be comparing. Now let us check the other two stocks. So we are now in the tab for AbbVie, and out of its 5-year history, on average the stock was trading at a yield of 4.27%. So the worst time was back in 2018, where the dividend was at 2.62%, under the 5-year average for 38.7%, and the best time was in the third quarter of 2019 at 5.81%, over the average for 35.93%. But if we do take the stock right now at a dividend of 3.98%, it is unfortunately still under the 5-year average for 6.89%. And lastly, we switch to Merck, where we find that on average in the last 5 years, the stock was trading at a dividend yield of 3.02%. So worst yield was in the beginning of 2019 at 2.5%, under the 5-year average for 17.3%, and best one was in the middle of 2021, where the stock was trading at a yield of 3.56%, over the average for 17.77%. But if we would be taking the stock right now at a yield of exactly 3%, that is now right there at the average with minus 0.76%. So we now do have all the numbers that we needed, but if you would be interested in checking on these or many other dividend paying companies, you are able to access this watch list by following the first link at the top of the description. Otherwise, feel free to leave a ticker symbol in a comment below, and I'll consider adding that into the watch list myself. Maybe you could share some interesting opportunities available in the market that I'm still missing. So we are back to our comparison table and the numbers are in. Now we can start assigning points. First point goes to AbbVie for the highest dividend yield at 4.01%, a point to Pfizer for the lowest dividend payout ratio at 30.39%, AbbVie gets a point for the consecutive dividend increases with 50 years, another point for AbbVie with the highest 5-year compound annual dividend growth rate at 7.38%, and lastly a point to Merck with the best dividend yield compared to its 5-year average ratio at minus 0.76%. So Pfizer has one best metric, AbbVie 3 and Merck 1. This means that we do have a clear winner, and with 3 points AbbVie is considered the winner of this comparison. So I do already have a position in one of the names we've checked today, and unfortunately that one is not AbbVie. In February of this year I started a position in Merck. I'm now holding 1.4 of a share at an average buying price of $77.28. Fortunately now the stock is way up at $91.45, so I'm up for just over $20 on this position, which is now an increase of 18.33%. I may consider switching this position for another pharma name, but before doing that, we probably need to check into a few more stocks first. So another dividend comparison is likely coming next week. So that was it for today. Make sure to support the channel and leave a thumbs up under the video. Which pharmaceutical stock are you holding? Share your pick in a comment below. If you would be interested in getting access to my documents, then consider memberships. By becoming a member, you will get access to Discord, where I share all my papers and all the buys and sells exactly when I do them. This could be a great option to track my moves closely. Last week I've looked into several other companies, so if you would be interested in any of these, then click on a video that is currently on the screen. And that was it from my side. Thank you for watching, and I will be seeing y'all in the next one.